Hi, I'm Lisa Marie. Welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Today, I'm co-hosting the Make It Modern Challenge that is hosted by Make It with Mia. I'll tell you more about that later in the video, but for now, it's time to craft. If I mention that I bought something at Amazon and it's something that you need too, you will find the link to my Amazon store down in my description box. I found this really cool piece at the Goodwill and I thought this would be so much fun to bring it into more the modern times. So what I'm going to do is clean it off, of course, with my crud cutter, and then I'm going to sand it down a bit just to make sure that I can paint over it. And of course use my little ladybug vacuum from Amazon, clean up all that sawdust. Then I'm going to grab my Kills primer paint in white and I'm going to paint this. Now I have a friend, her name is LIANEP'S at DIY Beauty on Purpose, and she does this really cool technique that I really wanted to try, and that's where you paint on your paint in one direction and then you go back in the exact opposite direction and it leaves this really neat texture. So that is what I'm going to do. Here is a little bit of a close-up of me doing that, and I really like the way it looks when it's all dry. It just has such a neat texture to it, and I can see why she does it, and now I think I'm going to be doing that more often. So thanks, LIANEP'S. I'll put her link down in my description box if you'd like to check her out. I'm going to take my sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to go around all of the actual edges just to give it a little bit of a distressed look. Then I'm going to take my ink paint by Waverly, that's chalk paint, and I'm going to do around the edges on the two sides and across the top. I'm just going to make those black, and that's going to be my black and white look on this one, and I love the contrast. It's just very modern farmhouse, super cute, and you guys, so easy. This is such an easy DIY. I hope my channel is a fun place where you can come and be inspired to create something. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the like button. That really helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it. I don't know why, but it's pretty satisfying watching, like, painting the edges like that. I sped it up, but I still really like watching it. I hope you guys do too. And now I'm painting the top little edges that I was talking about before, where the hole is just on the very top. I'm not going to do it on the bottom. I've got these cute little cutouts from the Dollar Tree. There's a pumpkin and a leaf, and I decided to take the leaf one. Looks like it has burlap around the edges, but it doesn't. And I'm just going to hot glue it right to the front of the mason jar that fits right into that hole. And then I'm going to put the mason jar back up in the hole, and I'm going to attach it with the rim of the mason jar, and that keeps it right in place. Then I've got these cute little picks from the Dollar Tree that have pine cones and cotton, and I guess that's kind of a little cattail. And I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm just going to put it in there. I feel really good about how it turned out, and I hope you like it. As I mentioned earlier, today's video is part of the Make It Modern monthly challenge that Make It with Mia hosts, and she asked me to be her co-host this month. There will be a playlist and her channel link and her video link down in the description box. I hope you'll go see what everyone else made. Mia is very talented and an absolute sweetheart, and I really hope that you will go check her out and also the whole playlist. And if you came over from one of the other channels, welcome. It's great to meet you, and I really do appreciate you watching my video. I found this really old rusted, I guess it's like a little tea light holder at the Goodwill. I'm going to clean it, and now it's funny, that rust just doesn't come off, and that's okay. I'm going to paint it anyway with my White Kills primer paint. I use that for everything because it's so inexpensive, and a couple coats and it kind of looks like chalk paint when you're done. So I'm going to paint the entire thing white, inside and outside. And I'm only going to do one coat right now because then I'm going to do some black trim, and then I'll go back in and I'll touch up the white paint where I want it to be solid white. Use my heat tool to dry it so I can keep moving on, and I love that thing because it makes my time more efficient. And now I'm getting on the inside and just covering up all that rust. And because I cleaned it first, the rust didn't come back on my brush, so that was good. Now I'm going to take my ink paint from Waverly, which is black, and I'm going to paint the handle, and I'm going to paint the top portion of the bottom piece and the bottom portion. So you'll see it'll be kind of like stripes, and it's a natural place to do it where the actual wooden piece indents. Now I'm going to start freehanding it without tape just to get the center parts of those sections, but then I will tape right around the edges where I want it to, butt up to the white so that it doesn't bleed over, because that's a mess when that happens. And I don't always have the steadiest hand, so I try really hard to help myself with tape wherever I might need it. And now I'm just getting that bottom piece too, because I want the whole thing down there to be black. It's starting to shape up really nice with that black and white color, and I love the way this looks. Very modern farmhouse. I'm loving that clean look. And now with the painter's tape, so I can get that edge really nice and clean. And the best part, taking the tape off and looking at that nice edge. Oh, I love that part. And now I tape the top part, and I'm going ahead and paint that with the black as well. And I love because you can paint it so much faster and not as careful once you have the tape on there. And here we go, another tape reveal. And I have another area to work on, except for this time it was such a clean edge that it was easy for me to get a very narrow paintbrush in there, so I didn't have to tape it. And although it's sped up right now, I did go very slowly to make sure that I wouldn't go over that edge. Now I'm going to paint the black all on the inside of that very bottom piece. So just that circle and then the inner circle, I'm going to do all of that black. So I'm coming in with some white chalk paint to do my second coat of the white, because I want it to be a very, very bright white, and this folk art paint just really comes out nicely. So I'm going to go with an art brush around those tight edges and then a whiter brush on the bigger parts. Now one thing I forgot to film is I take a buffalo check ribbon and I fold it in half because it was too wide, and I am going to attach it around that section I'm painting right now. And then I'm going to make a really cute bow, and I'm going to go ahead and put that right in the front. Are you on social media? Come follow me. I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Hope to see you there. I am loving how pretty this is turning out and how simple it really is. Just a little bit of paint. You can transform something, make it more modern and new, and just really nice for your house. I'm going to add a little battery operated tea light from the Dollar Tree, and then my ribbon and super simple shoestring bow, and this one is done. Now I saved this piece from the thrift store. A friend was moving and gave it to me. It's an oven-proof kind of a, vessel. We'll call it a vessel. I don't know what else to call it. And the top was broken, and it just wasn't my style. I'm not into the cream color, so I cleaned it up with my crud cutter. I do need to deal with that section at the top that's broken. So I had this idea that I could take my hot glue gun and just kind of glue all around that edge, which would round it out a bit and it wouldn't be rough, and give it a kind of a funky pottery edge. And it actually worked out really well to do that. So I did that, waited for it to dry, and then I'll start painting it. My plan here is to turn this into a really cool textured abstract kind of a pottery piece. I'm going to use my Kills White primer paint. Now it takes literally about 4 coats, and this brush is a DIY Arts brush. I absolutely love this brush. It's a great size. Do you love mega videos? Check out the link in my description box for a playlist of just that. Now that I've got all 4 coats on this vessel and it is dry, I'm going to mix up a little concoction in this little Cool Whip bowl that I had of baking soda and chalk paint. And you could actually use acrylic paint. It really doesn't matter. That's just what I had on hand. The color I wanted to use is the silver from Waverly. I'm eyeballing this, by the way. I don't have exact measurements, but I'm going for a texture. So I put in a little bit of the baking soda and a little bit of paint, stirred it up until I could see what that texture looks like. And it's obviously very dry. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water to that, mix it up, and then I will add a little bit more of the baking soda. And honestly, it's kind of a back and forth. I want this to look like a kind of a concrete pottery type substance. And once I have the texture that I like, I will start painting this right on my vessel and I will cover the entire thing. And I'll try to do my lines all in one direction. You'll see when we get there. And there's my little bit extra of the baking soda, and now it's getting to a thickness I really like. It's thicker than cake frosting, I can say that, and it's definitely thicker than gravy, but it's, you know, it's almost like a creamy peanut butter. I think maybe that's a good way to describe it. It's hard to give it a name, but you do see what I mean, how it's kind of thick, and you could spread it on though, and that's the important thing. And now I will apply it to that vessel, and I love the way this looks. It's very interesting. You can still see the white underneath and you'll see all the grain. And I'm gonna just go through this. You won't have to watch me doing the entire thing. I'll cut ahead, but I wanted you to see what it looks like when you put it on. And if you're not careful, it'll make little divots. So if you do want it to be all in one direction, you have to go back over it once you apply it and then see how I'm getting the lines straighter there. Now I don't want it to be perfect. So I am gonna do some crazy things here and there just to give it that really cool look. I'm going to take some metallic folk art paint and I'm going to paint around that very opening of the vessel where I put the hot glue because I want to make that a really nice shiny silver. And I'm also going to do one little strip around the handle just kind of to decorate it a little bit. I thought that would make it interesting. But as I looked at it, I felt like that wasn't quite enough. So I am going to add a little bit of this kind of bright tubing that I got at the Dollar Tree, which you will see here shortly. And right now I'm just kind of dabbing on that silver metallic paint all over to give it a slight shimmer. I'm taking a chippy brush that has nothing on it to wipe away the excess kind of powdery stuff that's on there because I don't want that left on there when you touch it. I want that to be nice to the touch. So it's going to get all over my table and I'm just going to brush it off. And now I'm taking some very white paint from Arteza. It is an acrylic paint, and I'm going to dry brush that over the top because I want to make this a little more white than gray. And I will go back over with a little bit of the silver where I got it too white because I do want it to have a nice distressed look. You'll see here. And there's really no wrong way to do this. It's all to the look that you want it to have. So if you'd wanted it more white, then you would leave that. And where I wanted it to be a little bit more of a combination, you know, I'm going to add back in a little bit of the silver where it's just so stark white. Now here I am touching it up a little bit with the silver. When this is all done, I do take it outside and spray a couple coats of a clear coat to seal it. I also put those really pretty white flowers in there. And there's this tubing that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just cut a couple pieces, and I'm going to line it up with that silver rim around the handle and around the very spout. And that's all I'm going to do for this one, and it came out so gorgeous, and it looks like a really modern abstract piece you might get at Anthropologie or somewhere like that, and I just love it, you guys. Have you ever tried using baking soda mixed with paint? I've done it several times and I'm really liking it, and depending on how much you put in determines what the consistency is going to look like on your finished piece. So I encourage you to try it sometime if you haven't. And now for one last look of our Make It Modern pieces for this challenge. I'm very happy with how they all turned out. And no, the last one isn't black and white, but it matches really nice with the black and white, so I'm thrilled about that. Please don't forget to go down to my description box, check out Mia from Make It with Mia and the entire playlist and see what everybody else made. I know you're going to love them, and I can't wait to see what they make too. That's part of the fun of doing this, is seeing what everybody else does. My hope is that you get inspiration from what we have all created so that you can go create something of your own and put your own spin on it. It doesn't have to be exactly like ours for you to create something. Thank you so much for watching my video. It really means a lot that you take the time out of your day to watch my videos. And be sure to come back so I can see you in the next one. And remember, you are a blessing to me. If you like this video, I'll put a couple more up on the screen that I think you'll really like, so feel free to check them out.